You know, your bike is something that's really personal to you, and so it can be a little nerve-wracking trying to decide who you're going to have paint your bike. So when I first came to RawTin Garage, it came with a very high recommendation, so I was excited to meet these guys. And as I expressed my ideas of what I would like to see, I could just see the wheels turning in John's head, and he talked about doing 2 tones of color and how it could change the heaviness of the bike and also make it feel a little bit lower. These were things I just never even thought of. I just thought maybe we could make this bike orange, and instantly I felt like I could trust my bike to these guys. They really knew what they were talking about. I trusted that I was going to get something I was going to be really happy with.
There's so much to a paint job. You know, if it's graphics, we want to make sure that they're flowing. It's how does the whole bike look? How does it look front to back, side to side? Is it the seat? Is it the exhaust? There's so much that goes into building a custom motorcycle. That's the exciting part of what we're able to do and accomplish here. We're going to make it your bike.
I turned my bike over to RawTin Garage at the beginning of the riding season, and I really didn't want to miss much of that, so I was very impressed with how fast they were able to turn it around. Not only was it quick, but the quality of the job just blew my mind. I pulled up to RawTin Garage after he had painted the tank, and there's my bike sitting in the sun, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The tank looked like blown glass. It just had this depth to it. It was like you were looking into forever. It was just incredible. One of the things that John and I had talked about a few times was bringing the bike back to a more nostalgic look, kind of like a vintage Harley. And he suggested white wall tires, which I had never thought about. But once he held some up next to the bike, I thought, holy cow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. John said to me, what do you think about changing the seat? He started talking about maybe having a larger grain, and maybe we shape it in a way that it would point back into the fender. So he turns it over to his seat guy, and I couldn't believe the difference that made. It just had such a cool look, and it really changed the profile of the bike in a cool way.
That's the fun part. That's the challenge, is to take a minute and just slow down and say, you know, what are we really trying to accomplish? What are we really trying to go for? You also want to make it your bike. You know, something that is important to you, and whatever style that is. I mean, whether that's through artwork, whether it's through graphics, you know, even a simple pinstriping brings so much character to that bike. It really brings it alive. You know, you might see a sea of 100 bikes, but it's your bike that you're looking back at. It's your bike that gives you those butterflies.
Keith is an amazing pinstriper, and it was so cool to watch him work, to hand paint these lines on the tank, and to watch his skill and his concentration. It was really inspiring. And the colors that they chose really accentuated the bike in a way I hadn't even thought of. We also added a new tank badge, and that just really polished it all off. It just looked so cool. It was a vintage tank badge with the cream color that matched the white wall tires. It just really stood out and made the bike look awesome.
You know, in the bike world, we've always kind of joked that, you know, you could have a special edition paint job, 1 of 50, 1 of 100. You know what? With RawTin Garage, you can have 1 of 1. You can have something that is really unique to you, something that you know, nobody else has. That color was made for you. You can name that color. You can do that color. This should be a fun process. This should be exciting. This should be an experience. That's what makes building your bike, painting your bike, you know, something special.
The cool thing about John is how he's able to take all of these talented people and bring them together to make every aspect of the bike look just right. It just has these elements that give it this very classic, nostalgic look, which I've always loved. It has this sexiness to it now that wasn't there before. I couldn't be happier with RawTin Garage. They're just great guys. They know what they're doing. They're very talented, and I couldn't have taken my bike anywhere else. Every time I rumble down the road on this beautiful Harley Road King, I think of those guys and their effort and their talents, and I just couldn't be more happy.